nature of anti-Semitism and these tropes about power is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the
I
power
hope
to
y'all
control
can hear
everything.
that.
And if we don't get him, if we don't
What up,
deal
Spooky?
with that, the myth spreads.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning, everybody.
Y'all are proving somebody
Good morning,
like Kanye,
everybody.
Because Kanye says, hey, Jewish people have all the power, and then he loses everything.
Well, look, the insidious nature of anti-Semitism and these tropes about power is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power, they're controlling everything. And if we don't get him, if we don't deal with that, the myth spreads and it takes root.
Y'all are proving somebody like Kanye, right? Because Kanye says,
I'm just
hey,
going to let this keep
Jewish people
replaying
have
for
all
a
the
second.
power, and then he loses everything.
Well, look, the insidious
What up, everybody? Good morning.
nature of anti-Semitism and these tropes about power is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power, they're controlling everything. And if we don't get him, we don't deal with that.
Because it was a
the
late
myth
night, that's why.
spreads, and it takes root.
Y'all are proving somebody like Kanye, right?
I need y'all to
Kanye
just listen
says,
to this. I'm going to let it
Jewish
keep
people have
playing.
all the power, and then he loses everything.
Well, look.
What up, Letitia? Happy Friday.
The insidious nature of
We're going to wrap up
anti-Semitism
our Getting
and
What You
tropes
Want
about
series today.
is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power, they're controlling everything. And if we don't get him,
I'll start
we
recording the
don't deal with
podcast at
that,
11:05.
the myth spreads and it takes root.
Y'all are proving somebody like Kanye, right? Because Kanye says, hey, Jewish people have all the power, and then he loses everything.
Well, look.
That's what's up. It's always good to be off on Friday. You should have did something.
The insidious
Is TikTok
nature
going
of
off? What do you mean?
anti-Semitism and these tropes about power is Kanye can say these things.
Well,
Jews
we're
have all the
still
power,
wrapping up
controlling
the
everything.
series
And
on
if
Getting
we
What You
don't
Want.
get him, if we don't deal with that, the myth spreads.
But right now, I'm
and it
playing this
takes
clip
root.
from the Breakfast Club with
Y'all are
the
proving somebody like Kanye, right?
with the
Because Kanye
CEO of
says,
the
hey,
ADL,
Jewish people have all the power, and then he loses everything.
Teresa
Well,
Eritrean.
the insidious
Listen to it.
nature of anti-Semitism.
Listen to what he's saying.
And these tropes about power is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power, they're controlling everything. And if we don't get him,
If we
if we
don't
don't
get
deal
him,
with
I
that,
want y'all
the
to.
myth
He
spreads,
slipped up and
and
said
it takes
exactly
root.
what it is.
Y'all are proving somebody like Kanye, right? Because Kanye says, hey, Jewish people have all the power, and then he loses everything.
Yeah, man. Listen.
Well, look, the insidious nature of anti-Semitism and these tropes about power is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power, they're controlling everything. And if we don't get him,
If we don't get him, are you listening?
Spreads.
I want y'all to hear this. This is coming from the mouth of the ADL, the CEO. So he's the one who tells the rest of the community, the rest of the Jewish community to act and respond.
Well,
how to move.
Look, the insidious nature of anti-Semitism.
Absolutely,
and these tropes
Teresa.
about power is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power, they're controlling everything.
I keep
And
playing
if
it because
we
I
don't
can't
get
believe
him,
he said this.
if we don't deal with that, the myth spreads and it takes root.
Y'all are proving somebody like
not that I know of.
Kanye,
I'm not being interviewed. I know
Kanye
I know they flew down.
Jewish
I
people
can't
have
remember
all
what
the
day they
power,
flew down. It might have been
and then
yesterday.
He loses everything.
Well, look, the insidious nature of anti-Semitism and these tropes about power is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power, they're controlling everything. And if we don't get him,
If we don't get him,
deal
I
with
need y'all to
that,
hear that.
the myth spreads. And
I
it
need
takes
y'all to
root.
really hear what he's saying. He
Y'all
said,
are
if we
proving somebody
don't
like
get
Kanye,
him,
right? Because Kanye says, hey, Jewish people have all the power, and then he loses everything.
Well, look, the insidious nature of anti-Semitism
and him trying to sound smart,
and these
he
tropes
actually
about power
sounds
Kanye
dumb,
can
throwing
say
himself
these
underneath the
things.
bus.
Jews have all the power, they're controlling everything. And if we don't get him, if we don't deal with that, the myth spreads.
These are from
and
his
it takes
own
root.
words. If we don't get
Y'all are
him,
proving somebody like Kanye, right? Because Kanye says, hey, Jewish people have all the power, and then he loses everything.
Well, look, the insidious
and they always
nature of
they got to throw the word
anti-Semitism and these tropes
anti-Semitic
about
in there.
power is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power, they're controlling everything. And
exactly,
if we don't
Teresa.
get him,
I said that exact same
deal
thing.
with that, the myth spreads and it takes root.
Y'all are proving somebody like Kanye right, because Kanye says, "Hey,
He-
Jewish people have all the power."
He
And
said
then
it. He said it
he
before
loses.
any of this stuff went down, and
Well,
then sure enough,
Look,
they flexed their
the-
power.
the
We're gonna get into it in a hot
insidious-
second.
the insidious nature of anti-Semitism and these tropes about power is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power; they're controlling everything. And if we don't get him,
If
you know,
we don't get
deal
him,
with that, the myth spreads and it takes root.
I think
Y'all are proving
Charlemagne, when he was interviewing him, he should have said, "What do you mean if you don't get him? What does that
Jewish people
mean?"
have all the power, and then
You know what I mean?
he
Like
loses everything.
he let him slip.
Well, look,
It's
the
like in H love. It's like in plain
the
sight. You know what I mean?
insidious nature of anti-Semitism and these tropes about power is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power; they're controlling everything. And if we don't get him, you know, if we don't deal with that, the myth spreads and it takes root.
We're starting in 1 minute and a half. We're
Y'all are
starting in one
proving
minute and a
somebody
half.
like
Ernest is a
Kanye,
family member, and
because
see what
Kanye
happened to
says,
him
"Hey,
when he
Jewish
started to
people have
speak
all
out.
the
Yeah.
power," and then he loses everything.
Well, look, the insidious nature of anti-Semitism
He tried to sound
and these
smart,
tropes
talking about
about
the
power
insidious nature.
is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power; they're controlling everything. And if we don't get him,
If we
you know,
don't
if
get
we
him,
don't deal with that,
listen, this is
the
all he
myth
said,
spreads and it takes root.
and he put them out
Y'all
on
are
Front
proving
Street.
somebody like Kanye right, because Kanye
And
says, "Hey,
Kanye was saying a lot
Jewish
of
people
the
have all the
truth,
power,"
and
and then he loses everything.
Well, look, the insidious
the insidious nature of anti-Semitism.
and these tropes about power
Yep,
is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power; they're controlling
yep.
everything.
He had too much
And
power.
If we don't get him,
Nipsey had
you
too
know,
much
if we don't
power,
deal with that,
too much
the
influence.
myth spreads and it takes root.
Y'all are proving
I'm
somebody.
gonna play this one more time, and then we're gonna get started.
Y'all are proving somebody like
Brandlicious. I can't do it right now. I can't do the. You find out so I can make it to work. I don't use Venmo. Can somebody Venmo? Who is that? Let's see. Kanan or whatever. Just one person. Somebody, just one person speak up and do it. Yo, what up, everybody? It is 11:10 a.m. Friday, December 9th. Eastern Standard Time, 11:10. It is 65 degrees here in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know where you guys are at. If you like, you can type in city and location. City and location. I'm your host with the most like butter on your. What am I talking about? This is my show. Y'all know who I am. I don't have to introduce myself. But we are about to start, and I want you to
have a bite to eat with me, Dwight Scrap Reynolds.
now.
Let's go.
Now I'm gonna start with this clip that I've been playing over and over again because I need y'all to hear this. We've been going over our series of getting what you want. Getting what you want. And I will tell y'all, under no uncertain circumstances, that Kanye got what he wanted. Make sure if he does, you mention we started the group, me, Greg Sterl, Rodell, Gerald Parker, Gerald Plunk, and Beverly Gordon. Music Express. That's what's up. So y'all understand that this is my first time. You should introduce yourself. Girl, stop. Teresa said you should introduce yourself. Well, okay, this for you, Teresa.
Welcome to my live. It's your host with the most like butter on your breakfast toast. Scrap with the rap on what's rocking on TikTok Live. Gifts are appreciated. Nonsense not tolerated. Share this live and get inundated to an amazing time that you came in for. With me, your host, Dwight Scrap Reynolds.
Yeah, man. So y'all know where y'all at. I'm gonna play this clip right quick. I need y'all to hear this one last time.
Kanye, right? Because Kanye says, "Hey, Jewish people have all the power," and then he loses everything.
Well, look, the insidious nature of anti-Semitism
Listen to
and
this.
these tropes about power is Kanye can say these things. Jews have all the power; they're controlling everything. And if we don't get him,
If we
you know,
don't get him,
deal with that.
if we
the
don't
myth
get him,
spreads, and it
I needed y'all to hear that. The CEO of the ADL on an interview with the Charlemagne got on the Breakfast Club said, if we do not get him, so for, for Kanye West and to put this all together for y'all in the Getting What You Want series. Kanye West got what he wanted. What up, Sassy? Kanye West got what he wanted. He wanted proof, and he got it. He wanted to be released from Adidas. He got it. And those are two things that I think that we go after things, and yeah, you know what I'm saying? Teresa, if we don't get him or deal with that, how are they to deal with it? That's what Charlamagne should have asked in that interview. He should have said, what does that mean, get him? Because the only way they could get him is financially, first and foremost, because like he said, they control the industry. They have the relationships. And clearly you see they have a relationship with Forbes, because Forbes could not wait. Forbes could not wait to denounce this man's financial acumen. They wanted this. They wanted the world to know, hey, Kanye's not a billionaire anymore. Really? That's what we on? When this man is definitely putting himself in harm's way. He's putting himself in harm's way, and we want to talk about the demotion caused by the very people who say they're not doing it. Like the very people who are saying, hey, Kanye West is crazy. They tried to dismiss him, and then, when getting what you want, you don't really know what you're asking for. And that's all I kind of got from this. But you do know what you're up against. And I think Kanye West was ready to face it because, at some point, somebody has to say something, right? And the fact that, so many people in the beginning, especially people who look like Kanye, like myself, a lot of people were abandoning him in this conversation. Freedom is priceless, but freedom costs so much, don't it? What up, DJ Dub? The fact that it's costing us so much to gain freedom around the world. It's not just America. Just to gain freedom and to get and have what you want is ridiculous. You know what I mean? In what we're dealing with on a regular basis. And then when someone like a Colin Kaepernick, a Kanye West, or a Kyrie Irving try to exert some influence on gaining that freedom, or what that freedom should look like, or at least instill some freedom in thought, is met with such vitriol, because when the truth comes out, you identify a liar. So you get what you want. I think that Kanye West absolutely exploited the fact that everything he said was up and up. And in him saying these things, and I think that was the biggest part, right? The biggest part was, if he could have went on conversing the way he was without mentioning a group, right? He could have said there are people who are controlling the industry and da-da-da-da. I think if he had done that without saying a name, that he wouldn't have got so, wouldn't have been so bad. But the fact that and here's the thing, that's been the veil of secrecy that they've moved under this whole time. So he understood the assignment. Like Kanye West totally got it right. The response was evident that Kanye West, listen, when people beat you down like that, you got to understand that there's some truth and honesty in it. There's something real about it. And what up, Jersey? And that's what I feel about other public figures who are facing a crazy lashback, you know what I'm saying? Or where these odds and these things that they want to do they don't add up, you know what I'm saying, in the totality of it. Like the way that Kanye West was treated doesn't make sense to what he was saying unless what he was saying was truthful. Y'all get it? Like people don't get mad if you lying. If you make up some stuff, if you saying some false stuff, people don't get mad. People are okay with you saying the crazy stuff. But if you're saying something that's true, you could tell by the response and reaction. Kyrie Irving only tweeted the title. What up, Trina? Kanye West only Kyrie only tweeted the title of a movie that contained truths in them that no one wanted to talk about or face. Now, was there a falsity in there? On a consensus basis, everybody would like to say yes. Thank you, Trina. Everybody would like to say yes. There was a false statement in there. I'm not one to judge. What up, Clicko? I don't know. But it's the hanging point to why people want to dismiss the conversation. And if that's the only hanging point you have that makes you want to dismiss the conversation, then I know that you don't want the truth. And that's the reason why, that's the reason why they don't talk about that. You notice that they're not talking about the video anymore because they've allowed, Kyrie Irving is responsible for anything. And what I think they've come to realize is that our response to these things is what's making this get away from us. So let's not talk about it. Shh. Don't let nobody else talk about it either. Let's not talk about it, because the more we talk about it, the more we keep it alive. And everybody knows that. Everybody knows that the more you communicate about something, the more you keep things going. You know what I mean? And for the response, and this is with all of them. Now, think about this, you guys. In the past, anyone who has come forward to say anything about that community, they've been met with the most crazy response. So we can go back. I'm sure there are more before this, but I just going to start so closely at Colin Kaepernick. Colin said, hey, the way you guys are treating us in the streets doesn't make sense. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my celebrity. I'm going to use my my platform, and I'm just going to take a knee. I need to do something to galvanize the people. I need to do something to make people understand that globally, I need you guys to see this. This isn't right. And so he takes a knee, and then they change the narrative. And watch how they do this. I want y'all to understand the powers of manipulation and how media plays a huge role in it. He says exactly why he's doing it. Hey, I'm taking the knee because of the injustices against black and brown people via the police. So this is me taking a stand, because even in the national anthem that we've adopted all across the board, the national anthem has racist content in it. The second verse of it has racist content in it. I don't know if any of you guys have examined the second verse of the national anthem. So I'm a anthem second verse. I'm gonna look it up for you guys, and I'm gonna tell you what it says so y'all can understand. In the line that everyone has a big problem with. So the first verse, of course, you guys know. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? Well, so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming. Whose broad stripes and broad stars? Y'all know all that part, right? The second verse is, on the shore dimly seen through the midst of the deep, where those foes haughty host in dread silent reposes. What is that which the breeze o'er the tower steep? I don't know who wrote this, but they wrote this. Their writing is horrible. If it was straight to the start. Oh, and where is the band who so vaultingly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country should leave us no more? Their blood has washed out their foul footsteps pollution. No refuge could save the hireling and slave. No refuge could save the hireling and slave. I don't know if y'all hear me. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from their terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, thus be it ever when free men shall stand between their loved home and their war's desolation. Come on, man. What y'all do realize, like when this war was fought, yeah, there's so many things that need to be modified, holistic. There are so many things that need to be modified. When Donald Trump said, hey, man, I want to abolish or get rid of the Constitution, I felt where he was coming from. I felt like that's a black conversation when he said that. I think when he said there are parts of the Constitution that need to be removed or amended, I'm like, he's absolutely right. And you and I, as people of color, should also be saying, hell yeah, he's right. Because those things in like this song, they were done and created when we weren't considered, people. We weren't even considered in the paperwork. So the Civil War, is when they changed a lot of things. I forget her name, Francis Scott Key. There it is. That's her name, Francis Scott Key. Y'all do realize, right, that shortly after the Civil War is when the United States changed what it was. Before the Civil War, it was free. It was truly free. Like, you handled your business. You covered your land. And if somebody stepped on it, you could blow their head off. And if you had a problem with a gentleman out in the streets, y'all handled it. That walking down the street 10 paces thing and all that, that's real. You were your own law. And after this, Abraham Lincoln and a few others decided we need to make this a corporation. So we're all a part of a corporation. And if you want to go down that road, there's a good documentary. Thought I saved it, but I think it's called The United States Corporation. And the man that's speaking on it is ridiculously dope. With his dissemination of information, it makes it real easy and simple to understand. Everyone was sovereign before that. You know what I'm saying? Everyone was sovereign before the Civil War. So sovereignty is what, most people should be looking to do so that you can move freely without being binded by these new constitutions of this company. You pay taxes because you owe this company. You know what I mean? The Black Wall Street riot created a huge letdown due to a white lady lied on us. Well, holistic, that's a lot of the undermining of the past has been just off lies, period. Didn't matter who was doing it. In terms of white lady, white man, whatever, a lot of it was even, a lot of that now. It's funny, our generation, and I think there were other generations that did it as well. I can't just say our generation. The generation before us, there's been awakening since the 1950s and 60s. There's been an awakening in the community and the conversation about it. Now, does everybody want this awakening? Absolutely not. Now, let me tell you who doesn't want it: the corporation. Why? Because the exposure in truth telling admonishes the way things work. Nobody, people don't want things to change. As much as we talk about it, as much as it comes up, you know what I'm saying? Nobody really knows or is willing to do what it takes to be effective in creating these changes. Creating these changes requires sacrifice. And after we've exposed the truth, what do you do with it? So that's like a huge thing when getting what you want, right? And we spoke on this before. Like, some people don't even know what to do after they get what they want. That's the state that we're in with Kanye West. Kanye West got what he wanted. He got it. He got the conversation out there started about it. He got evidence of it in the treatment that he received from all this. And in getting what he wanted, it came with a crazy price. The name of documentary, American Corporation. I don't think that's the name of it. I'd have to go search my my watch history on YouTube. But in him getting what he wanted, we don't know the cost of that sometimes. And unfortunately, the cost of him getting what he wanted has people concerned. Now, listen, y'all don't understand. When that guy said in that clip, we had to get him, you know what I'm saying? We had to get him. He's making an example of Kanye West. Same way the CIA made an example of the Black Panthers. The same way they said there'll be no Black Messiah. That's written into not Constitution. It's written in the CIA handbook. It's saying, listen, should there ever be a Black person to rise in prominence, we'll take him out. Watch the movie Margin Call. It's an old movie with Demi more. Great corporate movie. My brother said on YouTube, he said, we're two corporations, United States and United States of America. One owned by the Queen of England and one owned by the Vatican. Well, y'all can see how that's true. Y'all can see, if you historically go back and look at how things work, then you understand that we're governed by somebody else. Like, the United States does not govern itself. Like, we are definitely in alignment with some powers that are, you know, hidden, like to stay hidden. And that's why you see when Kanye West is saying this stuff, the call is coming down from major people saying, listen, get him off the microphone. Do what you can to silence him. Even to the point where they hired the trainer to be next to him to undermine everything he was doing. Like, his trainer is from Canada, and he was licensed in teaching those things. You know what I'm saying? What up, Bortek? His trainer was the one who was the first person to say Kanye West is crazy. He's the one who put it out there and then had him drugged and had him taken to, taken to go to a psych ward. So now and this is because he was already saying these things in the circles that he was keeping, and this guy is with him. You know what I'm saying? This guy stays close to him. And the guy, you know, I love the fact that he exposed him via the tweets, but what are we doing with all that information? Like, that's one of the things that concerns me, is like, people are taking the blinders off, and as a community of people, we just moving around like usual. Like, I don't understand what it's going to take for people to understand, in order to get what we want, we got to do something totally different. We just watching. We just spectators right now. They've got us into, they have lulled us into spectating everything. Like, that part bothers it bothers me to no end. We are spectators of our own demise. We don't do anything to adjust it outside of the weak and whack protests that we supposedly do. You know, we don't protest properly. We don't stand in the fold long enough. We're inconsistent. And that's me just being nice about how we position ourselves. I think that, you know, I understand some people are afraid because the posture that we take when we deal with this, when we deal with issues, they make an example. They make an example of people, and, you know, and there's not enough people to stand there and say, no, you're not going to do that. Like, what are we doing right now? Like literally, we've seen all these instances where we should be moving differently. And this is where I propose that, you know, what we do in Black History Month. Great to read on the CIA and Area 51. Behold, a pale horse. Yep. Clicko. But even then, so I'm past the point right now, Clicko, of I'm over everybody reading these books and hearing about these things and doing nothing. Like, I'm not that person, right? I'm the wrong guy for that job. I'm what up, Red Baby? I'm not the guy who wants to hear a bunch of rhetoric. I'm the guy who's saying, okay, so now what? Like, when are we gonna have our now what moment? When is that moment gonna come where we say, in order to get what we want, we got to do some things we never done before? Now, I played y'all a clip from I played y'all an awesome clip from Dr. Fred Price. Do any of y'all remember that clip I played y'all where he said maybe we should go to war? What do you mean, what are we wanting now, John? John, if you don't understand, like, we want, you would think it'd be obvious, right? We want a dog in the fight. We want not the false accusations of not the false representation of equality, but we actually want the equality that we should have. You know, we're the only persons who came to this country as slaves. Everybody else came as immigrants. Come on, man. And then we're the only group of people who never got reparations. We're the only group of people who never got an apology. What are you saying? What do we want? That's what we want. We want an apology in the form of every way that you can apologize to somebody for what for what was done. You can't move forward until you take care of what you did in the past. Like, we can't carry that around with us. There's no way there's no way anyone should have an expectancy for us to continue forward as if something didn't happen. John, let me tell you how bad it is. It's so bad that they're in the Senate debating or not debating, they're in the Senate trying to stop the conversation from happening about it. That's how bad it is. You know, it's so bad when somebody says, can we just never talk about that anymore? That's how bad it is, that they're so embarrassed by what they've done. And I say they as in the government fashions, these different communities that are benefiting from it and not. Listen, I hold everybody responsible. It's not just the government. It's every other community that doesn't speak up on behalf of the injustices that were done. Every last person needs to be speaking up and saying, nah, man, we can't even move forward. This needs to stand still right here until something changes. I can't believe you asked, what do we want now? Like, that's one of those questions. You'd be like, really? Yeah. I mean, listen, I think that collectively, Jersey said Native Americans were here first. Listen, with that, Native Americans being here, I respect that, right? But again, Africans are the only ones who came here as indentured servants. No, I feel the pain of the Native Americans that are here, but also Native Americans, the conversation they need to have is we need to join in with this other group of people who were brought here against their will and performed all these things in this society, received none of the benefits from it. Like, none of the benefits. Can you imagine working on something and then they don't even acknowledge the fact that you built the White House, that you built, that you built these different institutions and you can't even go in them and you're not respected by them, and they don't create laws or create things to benefit you. In fact, they say, we're going to treat you so dirty, we're going to make you spend spend your life. You know that people, listen, do y'all know something? I could say this, at least the Indians were free when they would come in America. Indians were free. They fought for their freedom. But we can't say that about Africans, because Africans ain't never been free. Even now, even this premise that we believe that we're free, man, we're still not free. And you get shown that in every possible way, from your treatment with police officers to the treatment in the injustice system. The injustice system is so upside down. You and a white counterpart could do the same thing, man, and you're going to see a sentencing that doesn't make sense. And there's nothing you can do about it because the judge doesn't look like you, and nor does most of the panels of people doing jury duty. The whack part is that the responsibility we all have to do jury duty, we try to get out of it, not knowing that you could be saving somebody who looks like you life. What up, Ron? What up, LA? You could be saving somebody who looks like you life. The fact that black people run from jury duty is crazy to me. But nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that jury duty is built to create some kind of equality if you get chosen. That's your job. When you get an opportunity, when the jury duty call comes for you, you have an opportunity to leverage the room. You have an opportunity to save somebody's life. You have an opportunity to change the narrative. I can't believe, people run from it, like literally run from jury duty. And I'm like, yo, you could be saving somebody's life. We got to, in the places and spaces that we can contribute, we need to do it. We need to be there. We need to do it. You need to go spend some time in a reservation so you can see how. No, I understand they're being treated like that. But what I'm saying to you, Alma, is Native Americans were free in America before. I ain't never heard of Native Americans being slaves. I've never heard of that. If you could tell me an instance where Native Americans have been forced to work for no compensation, to work for white men, you tell me. Because that's the difference in conversation when I hear people talk about Native Americans. I understand that Native Americans have been unfairly treated, but Native Americans ain't never been slaves. There's only one group of people that have been slaves, or two, that have been slaves in this country. And one of them got reparations and the other didn't. That's Asians and Americans. I understand that being the bottom line, but the conversation and the reason for the conversation that we have is slightly different. Native Americans aren't saying, hey, you know, I worked for you all this time and never saw payment. Native Americans can't say that they lived and died as slaves, you know? What I'm saying to you is this, and I hear you that there were some that were enslaved. When we say that, you know, it's when we talk about that minority group, it's hard to talk about the minority group when the majority group, and I can take it here, even with the enslavement of some of the captured tribes that Jersey's talking about, man, I think African Americans will settle for the offer that Native Americans got right now. What? I can have my own piece of land? I can get my own piece of land? I'm with that. I think African Americans would say if you give us Wisconsin, if you give us Texas, if you give us one of these states, or you give us, you know, our own plot of land in all these places, we cool. Y'all can do what y'all want. If you ask me, Native Americans have a great situation in terms of a great situation in a screwed up situation. I guess it's my way of looking at things, where I say you have to make lemonade out of the lemons that you were given. Native Americans are better off than African Americans in this country, based off of the positioning, and it's all whack. I'm not saying any of it was good. I'm saying it's all whack. Slavery was whack. The treatment of the Native Americans that were here are whack. The treatment of the Black Americans that were here, you know what I mean? Aretha said the land has very little resources. It's got to be good for something. That's all you have. That's the only mindset you can have. You got to say it's got to mean something. And they got casinos tax free. I get it. Can you please add the Native American versus African Americans to your panel discussion? Yeah, we'll do that. Yep, in the debates. Yep, let me mark that right now. African Americans versus Native Americans. But there's got to be a way. Aretha, you're saying these things, but there has to be a way. Land equal real estate, huge markup in profit. Everyone takes advantage of someone. And I understand that they gave you the worst of the worst. But let me tell you how black folks work, just so you can understand it. Maybe Indians could take a page out of the black folks book. We make lemonade out of lemons. We've been given the worst thing, and it's hard to find It's hard to find African Americans that aren't at some level content. I'm sorry. Now that's a problem for me. But there are a few people who are still chilling and like, oh, I'm straight and it's good over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just work with what I got. That's the American way that that Black Africans in America understand. All we know is we gotta hustle. We got to do something different. And I understand that. And she said, and you have to understand that a lot of us are indigenous and of African descent. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that we're separate in who we are. I'm not saying that at all. Joetta said Lincoln gave us the land and then Johnson took it back. And I'm not saying that we're not connected. I'm not saying that we're not family. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you is similar to what Africans are saying about African Americans. Your journey is different than ours. So I just want to make sure that we represent them. We have to represent them as they are. I can't carry the load of the Native Indian as much as carrying the load of the African Americans that were slaves. Like, it's a different conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different conversation, and we can't tie those together. That's and it's almost likened to the LGBTQ community can't tie their conversation with the trans community because it's two different things. They're two different experiences. Yeah, no doubt, as you should. When there's certain sectors of the Indian community that have been enslaved and have been but the thing that is wildly different that you also have to recognize is they tried to, albeit a horrible effort, they tried to give Indians some sort of reparations or relief. They have not done that with the African community here in America. Indians got reservations. Give us reservations and watch what we do with it. Listen, the black community is saying, just do the little bit that you've done for the Asian community after the Pearl Harbor incident. Do the little bit of what you did for the Indians after you went to war with them and all that. And the reason why the Indians got what they got, and I'm trying to help y'all understand this, is that the Indians fought back. The Indians fought back. The only reason why they got what they got, because they said, look, we ain't playing no games. Like, we willing to die for this for future generations. And if Indians continue fighting, or listen, if Indians, and this is, again, maybe I don't understand completely, but look, Indians, I'm telling you, if Indians just decide to say, we're not going to argue, we're not going to talk about this stuff, we just going to parlay this joint. What all am I able to do with my land? Okay, I'm finna do it all on my land, and I'm gonna require people to come to my land to get whatever it is I got. I'm gonna require people. That's the hustle that African Americans are on in this world. I'm gonna make you come to me to get what I got in order for me to make a profit or to come ahead, to get ahead. I'm gonna make something dynamic. I'm gonna create something. Like, I don't know what we would do if they told us, if they said, hey, y'all can have Oklahoma. We're going to give y'all the whole state of Oklahoma. Do you know they would, behind doing that, we'd be so successful, we'd turn that thing so far around that they'd be trying to blow it up. It'd be the first time that they ever did something heinous. Not the first time. It'd be one of the most world events that they would undermine that plot of land. Indians have a unique opportunity to, like the casino thing, that's one thing, right? So that means that these reservations that have casinos on them, there's money. There's money in that. We don't have an opportunity like that. Black folks ain't got no, they tore down our opportunity to do that. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. So what Jersey is talking about, you guys, is that I wanted to come up with another thing that I do probably in the evening as a version of Bite to Eat that's called The Great Debates, where we debate. You know, I'm going to bring 5 panelists up on the stage, and we're going to discuss these issues so that y'all can talk about it. So make sure y'all got your hair done and y'all makeup on and all that kind of stuff so that y'all can be a part of it. You know, I want y'all to be a part of this discussion and on the panel. And we'll go in and we'll go like this conversation already, it feels like it's going to be an amazing one. Well, last night we tested it out. We talked about a few different things, but this is going to be a real crazy conversation because I want Native Americans to be in the room. Don't come as you are. Don't be on my show not dressed up. If I was on if you had an opportunity to be on Jennifer Hudson's show, you're going to dress up, right? So dress up. Look nice. Don't be coming on here crazy. Y'all see I don't be coming on here crazy. I got on this emerald outfit, and if y'all want to get it, go to emerald.com. You know what I'm saying? Some friends of mine do the clothing. They do suits and workout outfits, and they look really dope. Type it. Tell them Scrap sent you. But they you know, this it feels really good, by the way, this clothing line from them. But understand that, like, I understand that there are two groups of people who have been done, well, there are several groups of people who have been done wrong. Only 2 of them have gotten reparations of some sort. Asian people got money after the Pearl Harbor event, and Native Americans got plots of land. And if, in fact, that had ever happened, they know, like, again, it just tells you that these people know the power. They absolutely know the power of the African people. And the reason why you know that is because they traveled all over the world and they stopped in Africa and said, these are the individuals that we need to build our country. We need this resource. These people are strong. They're intelligent. As much as they try to tell you that people are dumb, would you ever take dumb people with you on a trip, knowing that they dumb? Would you ever say, hey, I want y'all to come with me? I know y'all stupid as shit, but come on. No. People understand power. People respect power. And, again, the conversation and the things that went along with Africans giving away that power and giving the rights and the ability for people to trick them and to move accordingly, that's a whole nother discussion. But getting what you want, the us as a whole, there are things that we want. We've done nothing to get it. Yeah, it was the Green Book was evidence that just helped you see that you can be a part of the situation, but you can't, that you're still limited in how you move around. But we just don't go after what we want correctly. We don't. And we all try to do it as individuals, and they've told you that no one individual, and I think there are certain instances in life where we got to look at the examples that came before us. We got to look at Malcolm X's journey. We got to look at Martin Luther King's journey. We got to look at the Black Panthers movement. We got to look at all those things and say, what did we do right? And what could we do better? Because the most effective of those groups, if you ask me, was the Black Panthers. I understand. If I had to put it in order, I would say the Black Panthers got it right. Malcolm X got it right. And then Martin Luther King was getting it right. And they would tell you that Martin Luther King was the most influential out of all of them because of the way he galvanized people. And they gave him that authority and they gave him that ability to move around like that because he wasn't talking stand up and fight. Martin Luther King was saying, can we all get along? Can we all just get along? That was Martin Luther King's conversation. Can we all get along? And in doing that, at the end of his life, before he was killed, he said it. I was wrong. I led you all down the wrong road. He said it. So I'm gonna play something for y'all, and this is what I think makes a huge difference.
Why they're wrong. Here's why they're wrong. They won't even apologize to the best citizens that they've ever had. No, listen. It wasn't black Africans from Nigeria that flew over Pearl Harbor on December the 7th and declared war on the United States of America. Approximately 3,000 plus Americans were killed by the Japanese on the day of Pearl Harbor when Japan declared war on the United States of America. And then after that, they gave them $20,000 apiece and apology for declaring war on them. And black people have been the most loyal people to the United States. They have never, ever declared war on the United States. Never. Listen. We have been the most loyal people to this nation than any of the immigrants that ever came here. We have fought in every one of America's war and then got treated like dogs after it. And then the nation has the gall to decide whether or not we should apologize to them. Maybe we ought to declare war on them, and then maybe that'll get them to apologize. Watch this. Listen, here's why they're wrong.
That's one of the most profound things I've ever heard. God rest his soul. Yep, that's Dr. Fred Price. Man. Did that just get you fired up? Yo, y'all tell me if I got a booger in my nose, too. Don't be playing no games. Look, did that get y'all fired up? Did y'all just listen to that man tell you what it was? African Americans have been the best citizens. Tracy said, you can't possibly be aware of the countless times reps and senators have attempted to put reparations on the political table. It's been blocked by Republicans for decades. He passed away. They said that he that COVID, I think it was COVID or something like that. LA, he wasn't. It was mysterious how he passed away. I'll play it one more time. And to Tracy, Tracy said that Tracy on YouTube and via Facebook, he said you can't possibly be aware of the countless times reps and senators have attempted to put reparations on the political table. It's been blocked by Republicans for decades. Now, that goes back to me saying, and I like the good comment, Tracy. I got the fact that he said that countless times. I know this. If I knock on your door and you open it and I begin to give you a sales pitch and you close it, the next time I come to your door, I got to approach you differently. And what I've been saying is, I can't do it right now, Scorpio. What I've been saying is this. Our approach has been different. And Dr. Fred Price, I'm going to play it again for Holistic, who wants to hear it again. Listen to this.
Here's why they're wrong. Here's why they're wrong. They won't even apologize to the best citizens that they've ever had. No, listen.
This is the
It
solution.
wasn't black Africans from Nigeria that flew over Pearl Harbor on December the 7th and declared war on the United States of America. Approximately 3,000 plus Americans were killed by the Japanese on the day of Pearl Harbor when Japan declared war on the United States of America. And then after that, they gave them $20,000 apiece and apology for declaring war on them. And black people have been the most loyal people to the United States. They have never, ever declared war on the United States. Never. Listen. We have been the most loyal people to this nation than any of the immigrants that ever came here. We have fought in every one of America's war and then got treated like dogs after it. And then the nation has the gall to decide whether or not we should apologize to them. Maybe we ought to declare war on them, and then maybe that'll get them to apologize.
Did y'all hear the last part? The last part is the most. Did y'all hear the last part? Tracy said, and to your point, we have not been speaking the same, their language. War for what you want. Yeah, that is it. Like, look, listen, they showing us the blueprint. When America wants something done, they want a policy change somewhere, what do? They fight for it. Or they threaten to fight for it. But it can't be empty threats. And I'm not saying we should threaten anybody or do anything like that. What I'm saying is we got to mobilize. We got to figure it out collectively. And that's why, okay, so one of the ways that most people want to fight, again, that people want to fight, they want to do it financially. All right, let's do it financially. Because I'm a person who says let's figure it out. And we need to fail fast at whatever it is. Because remember what we talked about, getting what we want. Now, we've tried a couple of those techniques, didn't we? We tried to manifest getting what we want. Maybe, oh, Lord, please help us to navigate these waters so that these people do right by us. And that didn't work. The next one we did was we asked it for, hey, man, listen, can y'all just treat us right in America? Can y'all just figure it out? Because y'all are not treating us right. And they didn't listen to that. Failing fast will get us to it. Why would a group of people want to grant reparations to another if they continue to submit? I mean, that's exactly what we're saying, Reese. That's exactly what we're saying. So I said, what can we do moving forward? Because we can't change the past. We can only move forward. But if you don't know what you're fighting for, then you won't stand as you should stand. If you don't know the history of how things have been going, then why in the world would you say this makes sense? Because some people are content with where they are right now. Some people are content with their position in life right now. That goes from those people. Listen, Kanye West is a great example of discontentment even at the highest level. So it doesn't matter how much money you get, you still can't change the policies. No matter how much he screams with billions of dollars in his bank account, it didn't change the fact that the group of people that he was talking about were able to remove that, to take all that down. So the system needs to change, not the conversation, the system, the way in which you go about it. More black folks tout the fact that they have an arsenal at home, but they will only use it against other black people, unfortunately. And when I say this, I'm saying that whether it's your tongue game, whether it's your finance game, whether it's your security game, most people have security to protect themselves from people who look like them. Not to say I want to protect future generations and stand in a place that not many people stand in. I see certain military, the certain groups of people who have, put themselves in a military position, which I think is super awesome because it's necessary that you have some sort of strategy. And that was what the Black Panthers had. They had a strategy. Albeit not everybody bought in like they should have. Honestly, the Black Panthers should have been so huge as a group of people, but we had so many people that were okay with, well, it's not in my city or it's not my area. No, it's everywhere. Everywhere affects everywhere. They wanted this COVID thing to pass through. They didn't let it just stop in one city. How the hell one person go get to one place and then it be everywhere? No, they've distributed that stuff everywhere. They made sure the storyline behind COVID is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. When somebody said one person was on a flight that had a code that gave that code to everybody. How come everybody on that flight couldn't have been asymptomatic? Where's that scenario in the grand scheme of things? Because a lot of people have been around people with COVID and have not caught COVID. So what are you understand? So in this situation, that's exactly right. Black Panthers were the best. That's why the FBI destroyed them. You're absolutely right. And they did it individually. Like they went down the line, which is horrible. They went down the line and they went after each one of them. So much so that one of them sought asylum. Like he went to, what was it, Angola, I think. Edgar Cleaver. Excuse me. He got the hell out of Dodge. Why? Because the community here did not support him. We got to figure it out. And so y'all have heard me talk about making Black History Month truly historic this 2023 by pooling your resources together and requiring that people who we've patronized with our money and our dollars do the same for us. Because we need to see where it's at. We need to see where everything stands because y'all don't believe it. Y'all got these allies that y'all think y'all got that you haven't presented them with an opportunity to show you how much of an ally they are. Do y'all understand that? Do y'all get the realism of that? Like, we keep calling people friends and we ain't gave them no opportunity to show me how dope of a friend you truly gonna be. Y'all better figure it out. Y'all need to know. Like, that's why I don't do the march thing. I'm not marching with none of you Negroes because I don't know if y'all know what I know or if you're willing to do what I'm willing to do. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Holistic said we need more doctors, lawyers, and judges that are soul folks. I think we have adequate numbers of people who are holding those positions, but it doesn't matter because it does not change the national effect. Now, I want y'all to understand something. This is a national issue. This is not a world issue that needs to be solved. This is a national issue. Nationally, we need to make sure that globally they understand that African Americans in America have decided no more, that things are going to change. They're really going to change. Not that old change. What does that mean? So how do you protect yourself? A, you do business with people who look like you and you protect the dollar. Let's protect the finances first. As you protect your finances, meaning you're circulating the dollar in the community more than the 6 hours that it currently circulates, which is ridiculous in comparison to other people and other groups in this country. Other groups in this country, they circulate their money and they protect their money. Let's talk about protection. They protect their finances. Listen, we can't even talk crypto holistic because crypto is a trap. I'm just telling you that right now. It's a trap for everyone involved, but more so for Black people. But as they protect their money, then they're essentially protecting themselves. So imagine this. Right now, the dollar 6 hours, the dollar circulates 6 hours in our community. In the white community, it circulates 17 hours. In the Jewish community, 19 hours. And in the Asian community, which America gave them $20,000 each. So that's probably $20,000 for the mom, $20,000 for the dad. And if you got kids, each one of them with $20,000. Imagine how you could change the opportunity. No, we get into that. The Black Bank. Now, understanding that, you got to watch the movie called The Banker. And the banker will help you understand what the hurdle is and the challenges that are faced by the black bank. Listen, we can't talk about crypto because, and I want to make sure I get back to what I'm talking about with protection. Y'all gonna throw me off with that with the side comments. Protect finances, each other. Crypto is being set up so that they can control your money and the way you move around. Period, point blank. If y'all don't think they're going to regulate the Bitcoin and regulate that whole stuff, you're wrong. That what they're going to do is squeeze it and bottleneck it and make you guys have to switch over. Your money won't be able to be spent anywhere that makes sense. Anytime you try to take that money out, the taxes on that money is going to be ridiculous. They're going to find a way to control you via that. And I said this almost 4 years ago. I said it over 4 years ago, and Canada is already doing it. All right? Canada's already found a way to deal with these people in their accounts. If y'all don't think that people can understand, they may not know your individual account, but they can shut that whole thing down. And they're trying to do it by talking about climate control. Like, y'all don't understand. Once they decide that they're going to tear down y'all computer, those computers that are draining a lot of the what they're saying is the ecosystem is being affected by those machines you got to set up in order to mine. Y'all don't see it coming, and y'all so blinded by it that I would tell anybody who had a ridiculous amount of money in crypto right now is to get your money out before they really figure it out. Get your money out of that right now before they figure it out. If you're up, run. Yep, people are already losing a lot. I'm telling you, get your money out now or go down with the ship, look like the Titanic. Y'all gonna be out there talking about Jake don't go on without me or whatever, y'all gonna be on the Titanic. And y'all think it's a joke, but either that or you're gonna submit to the control that was the allure of being a part of this crypto community. The allure of crypto community is its anonymity. Is the ability to move and shift money and make money without telling people you making money. When has that worked? And they're already trying to dive into it so they can figure out how to do it. Exactly. So I don't want to talk. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into the crypto thing because it's obvious. We're taking pages and learning and using the systems that are being broadcast daily out of China. What are we saying? Listen, we're doing everything under this administration that China has done, from the lockdowns to everything. And there's a document that's out there right now that just came on board from what's his name? Dr. Fauci in a deposition where he admitted that he sent some people over there to see how they were managing the lockdown so he could bring it back over to the United States. But I don't want to get into that. But we talked about protecting your finances. Even black banking has its risks, but it's more of a solid risk in that regard. But you and everybody else still wants that black bank backed and financed by the FDIC, don't you? That's the challenge. When we talk about black banking, it has to be black banking completely removed from the system, because if it's a part of the system, it can be controlled by the system. So it's almost a deregulated banking system. And the trust that you're supposed to have in the banking system like that is that the black bank will take the money that they're loaning out for other people to use and put those finances in black infrastructure, building, granting loans to other people who are be entrepreneurial and building, granting loans to black people who look, people that look like them so that they can build businesses and sow back into that bank and grow those banking systems. It has to be separate from this government. Exactly. Y'all think they putting their money here? No, they circulating their money so that they can build things, so they can offer opportunities, either here or abroad. That's another thought. Hey, why don't we build up our black equity here so much that we could take it to Africa and start really building our homeland like everybody else does? The Hispanic community, that money goes home. You know what I'm saying? Like, that money goes back. Most of these communities that we talk about, they send their money back so that those people can get what they want, which is freedom. Finances equals freedom. Finances gives you leverage to your freedom. All right, so we protect our finances. That's what Black History Month should be this year. It should be about protecting the finances, to giving the black dollar an opportunity to survive and hopefully create some generational habits that we spend in the black community before we spend outside of the community. Why can't we make our clothing fly? This Emerald clothing brand, look, if you got to buy some jogging suit stuff, buy from them. They're 2 black women out of Atlanta, Georgia. Buy their black products. Like, that's how it starts. How the hell Kim Kardashian got Spanx and all this kind of stuff going through the roof, or whatever her stuff is, Skims, going through the roof, but we got black entrepreneurs that got dope workout stuff and all these other things, and we still buying Under Armour, and we still buying Nike and Adidas. What are y'all saying? And I'm sorry, let me add that to the finance department. If y'all got friends, relatives, kids, aunties, uncles, or whatever that are living, that are out here living, put an insurance policy on everybody. Put an insurance policy on everybody. If you got a little young gangbanger son, put insurance on that little dude. At least if he gonna be reckless, he gonna pay for it. He gonna chip in. He gonna chip in on his own demise. That's what I'll tell every thug in a heartbeat. Hey man, get insurance so that when you do the stupid shit you do, your family is taken care of. Yeah, we are exporting and importing our own demise. Half of you don't go to black nail shops. Half of you don't go to black hairstyle. Well, you go to black hairstylists, but black beauty places, because the Asian place got a lock on the market. Why? Because we don't want to spend the money. Listen, Alma, there is no question. We are the biggest consumers in America. We are that. So being the biggest consumers and having the lowest circulation of the dollar is the dumbest thing ever on earth. It's the dumbest thing on earth. Think about it. Force One said fit sports wear. Listen, there are enough black designers especially when it comes to clothing, for us to get it right. There's enough. There's enough when it comes to circulating our money. There's several ways to do it. I've been asking people to do this for the last 2 months. I've been saying, listen, man, send me your city, state, and the black-owned businesses in it so I can tweet it out, or I can put it on my Instagram and put it on here. I got, between all my platforms, I got over 100,000 followers. I'm like, let me just put that out there. So one of the things I just bought, I bought this hair. It's this hair product. I'm gonna introduce it later, but I said I'm only gonna speak on it. I'm gonna use it first. If it really works, hair growth is supposed to be dope. If it works, I'm gonna say something about it. If it don't, I'm gonna be like, y'all gotta go back to the drawing board. But we don't have enough information out there for us to make it easy, right? So let's go there. Those are our finances. Life insurance, I got it. You know what I'm saying? If something, knock on wood, anything happened to me, you know, everybody gonna be good. I took out enough that everybody gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nobody got to chip in on my burial. Ain't nobody got to, you know, take care of no finances and none of that. Good. And that's where everybody should be at. No matter who you are, you got to have some kind of life insurance so you're not a liability, but an asset growing in the family. We know our demise, our mortality is what it is. So if you know they're going to be singing End of the Road at some point, then you need to be covered that at the end of the road is also dope. I don't even know what the Facebook badge is. I don't know what that is. She said IUL is a black-owned insurance company. Well, there you go. I don't know how to even, if it does that. I think it only does that on YouTube, LA. And so take those things into consideration. Listen, you know your mortality is limited, so get a life insurance. It's almost something that should happen when you're as a kid. Get your kids covered. Get yourself covered. So should anything happen, God forbid that it does. But I've lost a lot of people along this journey called life. And if they had life insurance, they would have empowered their families. They would have made it so their family could probably pay off the house so they don't have that as a responsibility. They would be able to take care of their funeral costs and all those kind of things. But financially, insurance is one of the biggest tricks out there that we don't invest in. Most of you got car insurance you pay on a regular basis and don't get in no accidents. Not for the amount of money that you pay into that that insurance. Insurance can be either viewed as you either gonna learn how to use insurance or you ain't. You can buy an insurance policy that will allow you to borrow from the insurance policy, meaning you can improve your way of life from your life insurance. But you got to have a plan and a strategy, and you got to surround yourself with people who are knowledgeable about what Jersey's saying, financial literacy. We don't know how the dollar works. We don't know how this system called credit works. I have amazing credit. And honestly, I'll tell you, me learning to leverage my credit is going to be one of the dopest things that I do, because my credit, my credit is on point. And if I leverage it correctly, then it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And we've watched people take their credit and they'll burn their credit to the ground, but they will have established the finances to do that. They say, well, I don't need credit for the shit I do anyway. I use my great credit score to pull in $20-30 million. What do I need credit for? I can pay everything off I can pay with my money, and I can get my credit back. What I can't get is the money to fuck up my credit, excuse my language, to mess up my credit. And most people are messing up their credit without any true lasting benefit. Like, I don't want to get into that, but I want to say protect your finances. Secondly, protect each other. Protect each other. Sometimes you have to protect yourself from others. Sometimes you have to protect, can I do that? Send it to me in the DM so I can follow that person. But we don't protect each other. We don't protect each other socially. We don't protect each other publicly. We don't protect each other physically. We don't protect each other against others. I watched the Wu-Tang documentary. It's one of my favorite documentaries to watch on Hulu. It's called the Saga or something like that. But on Hulu, you can only see it on Hulu. Watch the Wu-Tang, how they came up, right? It's got so many lessons in it. But one of them was when they went from Staten Island to perform in Brooklyn, when one of the members was in prison, was in jail, and the Brooklyn inmates was trying to run the whole jail, but it was two different parts of Staten Island. One was Stapleton, and the other one was Park Hill. And they used to beef amongst each other on Staten Island. But when they got in jail, they had to understand, like, yo, it's Staten Island against everybody. That's why y'all see those shirts, some people saying it's Flint against everybody, it's this against everybody. There's separatism in it that needs to be changed, but you have to come together to get anything done. So I don't know why we as a people have not adopted it's black folks against everybody, because it's everybody against black folks, ain't it? Asian people give you the look. The certain groups of white people give you the look. Indian people be giving you the look. Mexican people starting to give you the look. like everybody has their minds made up about us except us. Everybody has their mind made up about Negroes except Negroes. Do y'all understand that? Everybody got their mind made up about black folks except black folks. We the only ones can't figure it out. Everybody else got to figure it out where they want to put us, and we don't understand that we're all in this together, and the only way it's going to change is if we move together. They got us figured out. Every group out there knows exactly how they feel about us except us. How long that's going to last? How long are we going to understand that, we're kings and queens? And I don't like using that term because I think people don't recognize the power in it. Like, we are powerful people who don't utilize nor understand that power right. Everybody else does. Every other community knows how strong you are. You want me to tell you how I know? Walk down any street on your side of the sidewalk and let a person of another nationality walk by. You can see the energy change. That's the simple physical representation of that. But the actual representation of it is how the government comes against those groups of people, how the ADL has come against Kanye West, how these companies have shut down and done what they did to Kyrie because of the power in the conversation and the mentality of the people they're dealing with. If y'all don't understand how much power
you possess, at least acknowledge that everybody else does. You ain't got to ask why things are happening to you. You ain't got to ask why it feels like the weight of the world is against you. It is. And I won't say the weight of the world because most of y'all ain't traveled. So I'm just going to tell y'all the nation of the United States. Y'all don't travel. Y'all don't travel enough to see everything. Like, y'all don't travel enough. Y'all got to get out of the country and watch how people treat y'all. And watch how there's a different reverence outside of the country. Some of these people in these other countries look at you like, you don't know how much power, you don't know how dope you are, do you? Well, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to acknowledge it. I'm going to treat you the same. I'm going to join in. Who, far be it from me to show you how much power you got. To show you the strength. But they show you every single day. And they don't say it publicly, because if you actually knew how strong you were, you would not allow what's happening to you to happen to you. We're so strong in medicine that we've had people who've done the, separations of babies for the first time ever. There's so many journals of black doctors who have had ridiculous breakthroughs. We got ridiculous inventions that are made by black people that you don't hear about, that you have to search out that information. Y'all don't even understand the resilience that you had in power to the COVID. Like, it wasn't affecting our community like that. Africa didn't get hit like that. Like, places of warmth where we dwell at, where we thrive at, weren't affected like that. But they can't have that conversation. They can't let you know that. They happened to do it in the beginning when Idris Elba caught it, and he was like, it wasn't nothing. Ain't nothing really happened to me. They said, I got it, but I don't feel any different. And they had a whole meeting trying to sell it to African Americans. They had a whole meeting, listen to this, to roll out COVID. They had a whole meeting to talk about how are we going to get black folks on board with this bullshit. They see through too much. Their intuition is too great. They understand too much. Y'all don't listen. Y'all, as powerful as we are, we do not command a life of power. There are those of us who do. There are those of us who are stark rule breakers, understanding that these rules are not for us. We understand that certain things are not in alignment with us. And they've created systems to make sure that you don't know. When I said protect each other, at 18, all those people, men, women, after 18, you are legally capable of supporting the Second Amendment. A lot of you have gone to the military and understand how to properly express your Second Amendment right. If you don't know what the Second Amendment is, look it up right now so you understand it. There is power in the Second Amendment that will allow you to deter your demise. Be it against someone who looks like you, but more so everyone else too. Other communities understand the power of the Second Amendment. They've actually expressed their knowledge of that when they march on these different capitals. If y'all don't remember, the Black Panthers marched on the Capitol in California, and they ended up getting the laws changed because Dave Chappelle made a joke, but it's such a serious joke. It's such a serious statement that he made that that I wish more people understood, that the way that we have to communicate, one of the ways that we communicate as black people is through comedy, because we can't actually come out and say what we really feel. That's right, Tashi. I've been saying that, Tashi, so much that there are so many military men that have returned home that should be teaching the strategy, just like all those other countries that send their people over here to learn about the military and are other things that should be only exclusive to the African American community. They send people over here to learn how to fight us. Come on, man. They send people over here to learn how to fight us. And we don't come back. There shouldn't be a military person
that isn't training 5 to 10, 18, 19-year-olds on strategy. They shouldn't have to go fighting these wars to learn how to protect their community. I mean, the fact that there's so many returned military people, and even, I'm just gonna say this, and y'all take this how y'all want. The reason why I know that nobody's teaching these kids is because even the dope game would be different if these kids knew strategy. They know hustle, but they don't know protective strategy. I'm gonna play y'all something else, man. This is what I was talking about. Listen to this.
Able-bodied African American must register for a legal firearm. That's the only way they'll change the law. Every able-bodied African American must register for a legal firearm. That's the only way they'll change the law.
Y'all understand that? Y'all got a problem with everybody having it? Then y'all, you know, the only reason why the United States hasn't run over everybody, especially us black people, is the fact that we can carry guns, that we can stand on the street and defend ourselves. And if y'all don't think that they're thinking of a way to remove the guns, y'all hear this conversation every week. If not every week, y'all hear this conversation about we need to limit who can have guns. You want to limit it? I promise you, the minute that you start teaching these people and getting these kids out here to learn how to protect and use their Second Amendment right, all that stuff gonna change. Once they understand that, well, once you understand that there are more of us than it will be of the people or anyone who will be trying, like, you saw what they did, man. Like, you could tell what the presence is gonna be like. When they did the Million Man March, y'all saw how many people showed up. You know, the law enforcement was ridiculous, but it was still 1 million men. It wasn't 1 million people in the army out there. The reality is this. They send 2 cops out to manage several people. I don't understand when I see 1 or 2 cops harassing somebody and I see 20 people staring at them, not protecting their community. You ain't got to do nothing but just make sure stuff is handled correctly. That's it. Yep. They jail you more. That's it, Tashi. The plan is this. Let's create felonies. This is why Chicago's about to be interesting come January 1. They're changing what's a felony in Chicago. They're changing who can carry and how long they stay in jail. All that stuff is changing in Chicago. I hope it's done correctly, meaning military people in Chicago, you should be training these kids how to take care of themselves, but you should also be unifying them. You should have the leaders or whomever from each one of those fashions of kids that are out there being buck-naked stupid, and get them together and say, I'm going to train y'all how to protect yourselves. Now, if everybody knows that we all know the same strategies in protecting ourselves, then we're going to be more cautious about what we do. This is what I'm hoping happens in Chicago. I'm hoping in Chicago people understand that it's the Wild Wild West. What you can do to somebody can be done back to you, and it can be legal, or it could be not such a me sitting in jail because of it. And you might want to tread lightly. You might want to do something different. Like, that's the conversation people gotta start going with, is why is Chicago moving like the Wild Wild West, and how do you change it? Yeah, I'm sure they do. The governor is the one who's gonna have the final say on that. That's why you gotta have a really good governor. But in that, protect each other. The reason why I don't go on marches is because I don't know if people are willing to protect me. I know that when you march, and what I've seen is I see police officers with riot gear on. They're able to protect every part of their body, especially their eyes. They're able to, if should it get bad like it was in Ferguson, they can protect their breathing because they wear gas masks. Like, we don't prepare for the worst, knowing that we're capable of being victims of the worst. You know that when you march for the good of a cause, that's not acceptable by most standards, and you will be met with opposition. If I know or believe what the opposition may do, what play are you going to run? Listen, let's think about this in the football terms. The offense knows that it's trying to do something. So does the defense. The defense sets up the same amount of people to deter you from doing that. What up, Lawrence? And they want to deter you from reaching your goal. And if you don't have your teammates lined up in a way that can supersede their wants, then they won't change their defensive strategy. And your strategy should be so vast, thank you, Lawrence, should be so vast that when they set up another defensive play, that you can run another counter offensive play that will help you reach your goal. And at some point, you will reach it. Now, the better the offense, the higher chance and probability you have of reaching your goal. Now, a great defense is good as well because it prevents them from returning and doing the same thing that was done to you. We don't talk about either one. That's funny, Lawrence. We don't talk about either one. Exactly, Tashi. And Tashi, the people that they are challenging are on this very app, and they're 13 and up. If 13-year-olds aren't understanding, like at some point I got to take you to the gun range so you can learn how to manage and protect yourself. If I don't tell you these historical events that have happened and where they have fallen through at, then how are you going to inform your friends how to strategize properly? If I don't put you up on game so you understand what's happened in your past so that it doesn't happen in your future, how are you going to be put up on game? Because the schools aren't doing it. The system that you're on, listen, the system that is in place right now, you have to supersede that system in your education. Because the system has a certain manual that they want everyone to read, but that clearly benefits other groups of people more than black people. If they could, they would write black people out of the history books. They're already trying to write black people out of the conversation about history. But if they could, they would write black people out of the history books. Yeah, Tashi, like, listen, all of us are. Don't you feel guilty? Listen, you're not alone. You are not alone. There's so many of us who need to be out here educating the youth and saying, look, I never want you to use this against anybody who looks like you unless they're trying to take your life. This device is used to protect your family and your friends in the event of. This is not for you to take an offensive approach. This is for your defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't talk strategy with kids. We don't say, what would you do if? And hear their thoughts and then say, okay, that sounds cool, but why don't you adjust it so that you can have these results? What's up, Everett? Indeed it is. But we're not having those conversations and getting what we want. Getting what we want requires us to have everybody on board. Everybody needs to be on board. And that's a challenge. That's a challenge. Let me do something really quickly. Brothers and sisters! Let me do something. If you're on the live, no matter where you're at, if you're on my IG, make sure you guys are sharing the live, liking the live. Super chat, super likes are available. The Cash App is always available on there as well. If you guys are on my TikTok, we should be way over 10,000 likes. We should be way over. Listen, I don't know if y'all knew this, but yesterday we were over 127 shares. Over 127 shares, y'all. We should already be sharing like crazy. I appreciate everybody who's gifted so far. I saw that. I want to give a shout out to, I want to say it was Amethyst yesterday who bought a subscription. Man, mad shout out to you. I didn't get a chance to congratulate you. Yesterday and say thank you. If for anybody who's bought the book, Social Digital Currency, I got to send one out today. I sent out a couple earlier this week, but that's been going really well. Thank you guys for your support. The Cash App is available if anybody wants to Cash App and support the live. I appreciate y'all for everything that y'all do, from the likes to the shares to the Cash Apps to the gifts. to the super likes, to the super chats, and those people that were on Instagram for the badges. It all is appreciated. Thank you so much. Now back to what we were saying as I wrap this thing up, man. As I put a nice little bow on this whole thing, Kanye West got what he wanted, and he's fighting to maintain what he has left. Had we stood by him differently, they would not have this approach. Had we not joined in with the circus and said, yeah, he crazy, yeah, what is he doing? And versus saying, I understand you, bruh. I'm with you, bruh. I'm down, bruh. I won't patronize these places, bruh. I'll hold it down with you. That's what we don't do. That's what we haven't done. And if we want different results, listen, y'all heard me say this, and I know some of y'all got this wrote down somewhere. If you always do what you always done, you'll always get what you always got. I'll repeat that. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. Please keep that and make sure you manage that in a conversation with your friends and your family, saying, hey, how are you going to do the same thing, but something going to change? Because people forget that. People don't look at that. That's what's up, Teray. If you always do what you always done, you'll always get what you always got. That should be the motivation for you to do something different. If we're talking about changing things, then don't spend the money the way that you normally spend it. It ain't gonna hurt you. It may take a little more time. It may be a little more expensive, but you're planting a seed and you're putting something in position that's gonna reverberate through generations. These are the ways that you leave a legacy. Hopefully that's what you all want, is to be a legacy builder in your household, to be a legacy amongst many generations. Hopefully that's where your mindset is at, is that you want to leave a legacy greater than the one that you came in with. Are you doing that? Have you done that? One of the ways we discussed with doing that would be life insurance. One thing that the Black community collectively does not do or invest in is life insurance. A will. Write a will. Have your things, give a directive. Should your demise come, have a directive as to what should be done with your assets. We should not be in a position where Takeoff's family members are disputing his wealth, who should get what and whatever. I'll give you my opinion. If he was raised by his mama, give her the money and let her decide to do what she wants, up to 80% of it. Meaning, give the dad 20% if he was involved, but not directly involved. Give him 20% of whatever that was, and 80% to her, and let her decide if she wants to increase his percentage or not, or give him 10% or whatever, but some set amount, and allow the rest to happen. Of course they were, Teray, because we don't understand them and nobody talks about them. Like, it's not an open dialogue. When the grandmother was alive, she should have said, listen, I've planted some things, and maybe it's a conversation she has with each one of those people individually versus collectively, because we know some people just are not good people. And if you say something out in the open, that the collective may come together to cause your demise. Unfortunately, a lot of times when we hear about incidents like Takeoffs, we understand that there's a bigger story at hand and that nothing is by incident. Everett says, buy material that appreciates, heirlooms. Like, we don't have a lot of that. Like, how often have you had a ring passed down or a necklace passed down? Or, yeah, I know what you meant, Everett. But that's what people with wealth do, is they by appreciating assets like paintings and different things like that. Paula, I appreciate the Cash App for the smoothie. Thank you so much. People do wealth building techniques. We don't have that conversation enough. We talk about getting by and surviving. Do you know that, listen, for everybody who's listening to me, I want y'all to understand something. Y'all are not meant to just survive. You are meant to thrive. Like, I want y'all to get that in your head. You are not just meant to survive here. You're meant to thrive here. And to get to a level of thriving, you got to go through the bull crap. I love watching Shawshank Redemption. I just do. I love the triumphant moment where this man had been building an exit strategy from the dumb shit excuse my language because my mom watches sometimes. But he excuse he dug a hole and then he crawled through a mound of poop to get to his freedom. Liberation from the injustice that had been done to him, a free man. LA says, yeah, black people have never got nothing from marching. Absolutely. I'm paying the insurance on our children, so the money should come back into the marriage equally, Scrap. Totally. I get it. Absolutely. Should something happen to the kids? Yeah. If you're paying the insurance on it, absolutely. That's one of my favorite movies. You know what I'm saying? But we got to understand, like, it's so much we got to do, man, for us to get what we want. I know a lot of the conversation we had this week was about personally, each person getting what they want. But the grand scheme of things is, as a community, how to get what we want. As a community, how to get what we want. I hope that my concern is that this conversation doesn't just stay on this platform, and I'm gonna make sure it doesn't. I'm gonna make sure this conversation hits hits YouTube, and this conversation hits the podcast on Spotify. So the Bite to Eat podcast on Spotify.
Have a bite to eat with me, Dwight Scrap Reynolds.
Like, I want to make sure that this conversation is expanded and that there are bits and pieces that you guys can clip and share with your communities as well, so that they can understand that this conversation is happening. A lot of times people don't even know this conversation is happening. Like, this conversation is not at the forefront anywhere. You don't hear like these major podcasters, these major situations where they have incredible voices in the community. They ain't talking about this stuff, man. They talking about the latest sneaker, whose song did this, and those kind of things. And although I love being entertained by those things, but where does the entertainment change to culture building? Where does it come to the point where we're affecting our culture? Because we need to be affecting our culture. Everybody loves our culture except us. Everybody loves our culture. Come on, man. I'm just hoping we can adjust some of this stuff, man, in our lifetime. I'd love to see things happen in our lifetime, and I'm doing my part. I would love for everybody else to do their part, but I'd love for everybody to take a listen and think about those two protective things that we talked about. Protect your finances by any means necessary, and protect each other, yourself and each other. Those are the most two paramount things, and they're not in the right order. You got to protect yourself first so that you could be around to create wealth, so you can leave a legacy. You know what I'm saying? And in protecting yourself, I mean this: get out of your own way. Stop putting yourself in harm's way. Stop putting yourself in a position where negative things can happen to you. Keep yourself available for your community. Don't allow people to get these felonies and then their inability to protect themselves and their family, or even protect from the sham that is voting. I know nobody want to hear that, but protecting ourselves from the sham that is voting. And the reason why I call it a sham is because we don't do it collectively together. We don't vote collectively together for the greater good. They've got, I don't know why we listen to people who continuously try to separate us, and we allow ourselves to be called Democrats or Republicans. But then after the vote, you're just another N-word. You know what I'm saying? You're just another African American. That underneath it all, that's the truth about it. So what do we do to have a voice? Right now, we don't have a collective voice in any of the political landscape. We don't. We don't have a voice in the political landscape, and that's because we ain't got no money together. We don't have money together. We should be able to, I only want to promote, I'll promote one other book outside of my own, which this is my book. You can get it at yoursocialdigitalcurrency.com. That's yoursocialdigitalcurrency.com. I'll promote Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Powernomics. I'll have it in here probably next time we talk, or have it somewhere around here so y'all can see it. Powernomics is telling you, listen, one of the things that we haven't been able to do that we need to be able to do is buy a politician. These folks don't care about ethics. They only care about money. Understand that first and foremost. It's a corporation. Who can make the corporation the most money? Absolutely, Janet. we're not taking for granted. We're taking advantage of. It's not for granted. We absolutely, LA, we need economic wealth, but we can't get economic wealth spending with everybody else. Ooh, that's a slogan. We can't get economic wealth spending with everyone else. If we make cool, cool, if we make fly, fly, if we make the culture, then why is it that we're buying Balenciagas? Why is it that we're buying all these other brands? Make our brands fresh. Come on, man. If we're the culture, we determine. That's like, I used to have this argument with major acts, like with major groups, who felt like they needed major producers to be on there to do the work. And if you know anything about music, there are some incredible kids that go undiscovered. There's some incredible musicians who are dope as I don't know what. But these major acts feel like they have to align themselves with these major producers with these names in order for them to have success. And I just tell them, hey, you're the source of the success. One thing I loved about Tupac is Tupac didn't care where the beats came from. All he cared was that it was dope. That's the message. You shouldn't care. Yeah, we've had Fubu, Carl Kanai, Rockaware, Sean John, and we've allowed those Italian names to, none of those names that you just said right there have ever placed a value on their clothing like Gucci, Balenciaga, Ferragamo, Louis Vuitton. None of them, not a piece of clothing has ever held a torch to the price point that these other places have put on it. Why is that? And let's be real, Yeezy is probably the closest thing in the recent past that has, you know, in some regard with certain shoes has held its weight. Why do we have to, our value comes in looting our culture. Our value with our clothes and stuff comes from looting our culture. And right, Tashi, the key part of what you just said is we blow them up. We blow them up. We pay these ridiculous prices. There's no way in hell, man. Balenciaga, ugly shoes, you know what I mean? And we're paying $700-800 for these joints. That's right. Now that's something to be examined, right? What is it about the lure of the clothing? Well, I can tell you what it is. These companies do what our companies aren't willing to do. How does a company acquire a Virgil Abloh? His clothing at this point is making ridiculous amounts of money. And unfortunately, he's not here to celebrate in that. And I'm the conspiracy theorist in me, the critical thinker in me just makes things that seem so convenient just seems tripped out to me. I'm just saying that. It seems, like those things are just too convenient for me to be accepting, but and again, I think a lot of it has to do with resources that we have to outsource to get the resources that we need. Again, we have a nation called Africa. We have a continent called Africa that is high in almost every resource, which should be the underlying thread in almost everything we do. We have a place that links us. We have a continent that links us to our heritage. We have a continent that links us to our ancestry. We have a continent that is rich in everything that we don't source, but every other country does. Every other country is invested in Africa. And we, as African Americans who have access to money aren't. We don't even have to, just so y'all can understand what I'm saying to you, is because of the resources, we don't have to. I understand that a lot of people aren't connected to the African culture, whether it's the traditional garbs or whatnot, and you don't have to be to source the materials to make other things. I can tell you right now, you can look around your house and you know half the stuff in your house is made by China, but you don't know what part. You don't even look at it like I got that in, that's from China. You don't even do that. We're some of the only ones who are doing that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I understand that, Clicko. That's another conversation because I know people very close to that. I actually worked with Akon on some projects, and we did like a live maybe like 2-3 months ago. But they're still working on his city. You know what I mean? But it's a lot that we've left a lot on the table. We are actually some of the best farmers, agriculturalists, and designers, and in our ingenuity and our ability to invent, and like I said earlier, our ability to make lemonade out of lemons, that we forgot that. We don't move like that. We don't operate knowing that we can have success. You know what I'm saying? Not many of us, me included, have not made a pilgrimage to Africa yet, just so I can give. Y'all know how dynamic it's going to be when I go to Africa? Do y'all know? I know LA is messed up. Do y'all understand what the lunacy that I'm going to come back with when I really see what's going on in Africa? When I go to Africa and I just, and I'm able to have the conversation about, this is it. I'm a person, listen, when I consume this information and assess it for myself, there'll be no greater advocate for Africa. And I'm an advocate for it now. But imagine, man, what? And that's what I think that everybody will come away with. I think everyone, and I've heard that. Have you really seen the quality of African-made products? I actually have some, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of care and a lot of thought into it. But what I'm talking about is not only the African-made products, but what I'm saying to you is sourcing the materials, because this is what every other nation is doing. They're not bringing Africa to China. They're not bringing Africa to all these different places. What they're doing is they're sourcing these assets that Africa has and then taking them back to their country and reusing them in a way that, and doing them in their way. Indeed, LA, eyes always open. They're using it in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not buying the bread from there. They're getting the flour and making their own bread, because the flour that they have in Africa, I'm just using as an example, the flour that that they're using. I got some partners, LA, and I appreciate that warning. I got some partners over there who've gone over and started businesses over there. So I absolutely want to make sure I make that trip. You know what I mean? There it is, Everett. It's not about the actual product coming from Africa, but the resources is what everyone is doing. Every other country is going to Africa to siphon their resources. They're not, you don't see Chinese people with African garb on, but China's heavily invested in Africa. You don't see Germany and those different places over there, wearing African stuff. And some people do culturally dive in and become a part of it because they get it. But others are saying, no, give me the silk that you guys create here. Give me the the cotton. Give me I want the source, and I'll do with it what I want to do. But you, because of your country is so rich in agriculture and you're so rich in minerals, it's so rich in all these different things, that I'll resource it the way that I want for my community differently. That's what everybody else is doing. Even when we get the products that we get from China, that's all we're effectively saying. We got things from China that look like they could be made in America. And the reason why they do that is because you're more inclined to buy something that aesthetically you like to see, no matter who it's from. Clearly, there's no way China should be in a recession. And the only reason why China is in a recession because people stopped buying during COVID. People stopped buying all the products that are made in China, made in Korea, made in Taiwan. There's not a piece of equipment in my studio that I'm sure doesn't have 1,000 parts from another country. I'm sure of it. And to say that they're synonymous with that means they got the game figured out, because other countries supply these same things, but they got a corner on the market. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to represent, so to speak, Africa in exactly in how it's presented. You can create your own creations from the resources that you get from Africa. But most of us don't even travel to Africa. Listen, can I tell you one of the biggest businesses out there, just so y'all know? From the beginning of time, the biggest business is export import. And I love the way, I'm going to find this video, man, and kind of like how I sat down and I played y'all some stuff earlier. I'm going to play y'all some clips from it. And the dude, man, he breaks down, it's like the language of the corporation or something like that. But he talks about, black hair. So let me get this out before I deal with that, Everett. But he talks about everything in terms of shipping. It's a shipment. You know what I'm saying? Why all ships are ladies. Why? Because it's called a berth when they dock. It's crazy. When he breaks down the terminology and why it's called a certain thing and why it works the way it does, you're going to be like mind blown, because I was, right? But for Everett's conversation, when we talk about being entrepreneurial, it will require you to step outside of your culture most times to take resources from other places. So one of the things that I've understood that was really dope is there was a young lady who went to India. She traveled to India to meet the individuals who were sourcing the hair that so many of you women go crazy for. Y'all go crazy for Indian hair for some reason at some certain level, and it's got some kind of allure to it or whatever. But she actually went to India. I understand it takes money to make money, but somebody got some money, Amethyst, and you got to surround yourself with them, and you got to have a great idea and a great proposition. But somebody backed her to fly over there and get the Indian connection. So now the hair that she pays $100 for or $50 for, some ridiculous low price, she's charging y'all $600. She's wealthy she's wealthy to no degree. You all can do that too. You can travel to Japan. You could travel to Korea. You could travel to, I wouldn't travel to China, but you could travel to these places and go to those factories. I got a friend that we were going to do a jean line with, and we reached out to those companies over there, and they gave us it's $2 for some jeans. $2 for some jeans that now come to America, and the markup is like $40. You got to go to the source. That's the challenge that's in front of you. Go to the source. Have to go to the source. And I love the fact that some of you guys already know these stories. I love the fact that some of you guys are already informed in that. Find a way to make it an actionable item. Find a way to make it something that you're doing and not just talking about. Make sure it's something that we're actively going after versus something that we're just discussing. That's a perfect example. Clicko. Frank Lucas went to the source. Going to the source allows him to have better quality and to have it at a lesser price. So imagine if you can have some purple jeans at $7 versus paying $200-$300. We so caught up in labels that we don't get caught up in. You should be caught up in performance. You should be caught up in quality. But anyway, all that to say that you're going to have to take some extreme measures to get what you want, because we've waited so long to go after it the right way that we've allowed people to build up their defense. You know how when you should say something to somebody when something first happened, and then you wait, and then you realize there's so much distance between it that it makes you want to give up doing it. That's why you have to be a person that's prepared to do something immediately, because if not, the distance between the thought and the action are so far apart that you just get discouraged and you never do it. What up, the Buddha? The Lou in the house, I see you. Do y'all understand that the longer you wait to do something, the more distance you create from doing it, the more animosity you develop. Some of you should have already started putting your dream in effect, yet you're still talking about it, and now it's so far apart that you get discouraged and say, I'm gonna pick a new dream, and you're gonna treat it the same way. Ever said, I teach Tai Chi, actually went to a manufacturer in Chinatown to get specific belts and uniforms. As you should, and at a discounted price versus going through the markup of these other people who don't look like you. Or maybe look like you, but I don't know. So anyway, y'all know what it is, man. Give me one more share so we could be up to 20 shares, y'all. We're at 10.4 on the likes. I appreciate that. For those of you who have Cash Apped and gifted on today, man, and I want you all to have an amazing weekend. If you subscribe today, have an amazing weekend. If you liked on this live, have an amazing weekend. If you shared on this live, have an amazing weekend for your conversation in these lives. Listen, I'm not up here just talking, man. I love the fact that you guys are typing back and communicating back. That's what this is all about. And I appreciate that. And I try to mention y'all name and in response so that y'all understand that there's an audience that is going to see and listen to this stuff, y'all. And I want them to understand that I'm talking to actual people and that there are people who are conversing so that they may want to join and they may join in on the conversation. But Tashi said, I just said that product are made from the same, just quality of how it's made. True story. Okay, that's what's up, Everett. That's funny. With that being said, I've dedicated an hour, almost 2 hours to you all today. For those of you who have appreciated my time in way of gifts and Cash Apps, I thank you so much. It makes it, if I was treating this like a job, some of you guys have invested in the employment hour that I spent with y'all, the 2 hours I spent with y'all. I mean, albeit I'm not one of the highest employees out there, but y'all do make it seem like, so I'm not slaving for you guys. You guys are taking y'all taking an interest in me, and that's really cool, and I appreciate that. So with that being said, I want to say that you tune in on YouTube. I have a YouTube goal, so anybody on my live right now that's not following me on YouTube, follow me here on TikTok. Hit the Instagram button, which pulls up two options. One for Instagram, you should follow there too. But more importantly, I'm trying to get my subscriber goal on YouTube over to 3,000. We started off this at the beginning of the week. I was like 2,800 and something. Now we're at 2,900, and I think it's at least 30 something. So we were at one point over 113 people needed. Now we're close to 60 people needed or so. So I'd appreciate if you go over there. This is a free thing. This is a free social digital currency spin. Social digital currency is the actionable items that you use to create an engagement with somebody on any social media platform that is a person of interest. Hopefully I'm your person of interest, and you'll spend some social digital currency either on the book, well, that's actual currency, but social digital currency by following, liking, commenting, but most importantly, subscribing and doing those different things. They're all free for you. They mean the world to me, but they're free for you to do. Cost you nothing to say, boom, I'm subscribed. Cost you nothing to hit that like button except for thumb cramps. Sharing only costs you sharing me with other people. That's it. Following only makes it available for you guys to be here when I'm on and to turn on notifications and things like that. Ever said, bro, big ups. I truly appreciate you and your format. Stay alert, be safe, and live life. I absolutely all of the above. I'm gonna run out of here. I got to be a blessing to somebody else in a minute. Somebody asked me to do something for them, and so I was meant to do it yesterday, and I want to get done with it today to make sure that I'm not holding them up, but I'm being an asset and not a liability. For those of you, again, I really do appreciate people who take real consideration into my time. I can't say that enough to you because it's time that I could be doing other things during these 2 hours, these formidable hours that we spend on here, of course. But I recognize that you are taking time out of your day to do it. And that means a lot to me as well. So I appreciate you and your time. I want to say thanks to everybody. A lot of people want me to join their lives and do the battle thing. I just don't look, I would love to participate in that, and that would maybe offset, the time versus money equity in being on lives. But I'd be like, man, people don't gift me like that when I'm on here talking. I'm just being transparent. I'd be on here like, yo, why would I battle or do those battle things contests when I'm live and I feel like I'm doing a good job? But when it comes to the gifting and whatnot, it's super chill. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Yeah, I did. Teray, listen, let me tell you, Teray, I won. Listen, this is what happened. I had a 6-win streak yesterday. Not that anybody had to do a lot of work. But Teray actually put in a lot of work to, and then I got on and I did one battle with this one guy from Georgia late last night, and he had somebody come in. One person came in on his team and gifted him something that was like 7,000. like 7,000 points, and I only had like 3 or 4 points at the time. Like, they really could have just did something simple and won, but they gifted him like 7,000. I was like, yo, I need friends like that. Listen, if I ever do that stuff, man, I'm telling y'all, I don't want to lose. So whatever y'all got to do, man, you know what I'm saying? Just be prepared. If y'all ever see me doing that battle thing, don't be afraid to come in and support. Even just thumb jamming gives you some help. But if y'all can do the gifting on that level, you know what I'm saying, where I'm knocking some of these people down and it's all going for a good cause, then I appreciate that. With that being said, to my TikTok people, man, this is not goodbye. This is to be continued. Y'all have an amazing weekend if I don't see you on my lives over the weekend. And we'll be back for sure on Monday with Bite to Eat.
Have a bite to eat with me, Dwight Scrap Reynolds. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. I'm out. I believe they hacked the system on some of those drops. You may be very right. But this is what I do know. When I join at night on the weekends, so my TikTok, so the battery on my phone just died, and my TikTok has gone rogue. Let me see if I can do something, because I know my TikTok people are saying it's paused. If I put it on the charger real quick. If I put him on the charger, what will I do? I'm trying to understand this about me and you. I got to put it on the charger now. I want to see what is. So I'm only here with you guys on YouTube, and I appreciate y'all hanging out. So it's
But having lost nearly 280 grand in 38 hands.
Doesn't matter what he has, he never wins.
They're gonna be like, yo, why he paused like that? Why do he pause like that? I don't even know what you're talking about. No.
Tony G, pocket sixes,
Like
calls.
Tell me what you really feel
King 8
about
suited for
the
Ike.
things that be going
Ike's
on
got
now.
good odds to defend.
I don't know what to say, but I feel it
And he
every
does.
day. In every
You get 2 customers.
Replays.
Non-believers.
I know what they want.
We believe.
They're out. Sixes aren't right there.
Excuse
Phil
all that.
folded one.
7-9 queen. Tony's hand still best. He checks.
All right, so I just jumped back
Paxton
on.
checks.
I just jumped back
And
on
Harlow
to tell y'all
checks.
my
The turn. 5 of
battery on my
diamonds
phone
gives
went out.
all 3 a gut shot.
so.
Tony still has the best hand with his pair of sixes.
But I was ending the show
Checked
anyway.
around on the flop, so Tony may like
So
his hand
this is
now.
not goodbye.
Likes
This
it
is to
enough
be
to bet
continued.
4,500.
Remember to share.
Ike's not getting good odds, and they're even worse with those
Okay.
sixes out.
Ike folds.
YouTube.
Russ has
I
got the
appreciate
same
y'all.
bad odds.
Y'all can
He
make sure
folds.
y'all, if y'all are on TikTok or on Instagram, I usually do
I have
both,
the
but I
best
stopped doing
hand.
Instagram. I just don't like the return on Instagram. I don't
The
like
key
the
card.
return on engagement.
Six
And I'm gonna make
clubs.
an announcement about that. Like Instagram, if
Yep,
y'all
story
miss me
checks
because
out.
Y'all don't know how to engage correctly.
I was committed.
This has been another amazing episode of
You had my out blocked. Sounds like an uncomfortable trip to the doctor's office. An uncomfortable trip anywhere.
You limping in this time, Phil?
Yep.
That's better. Now you